Welcome, everybody. We are live. I'm with my good friend Corey Michelle and our special guest Jolie, and we are going to dive in. So, Corey, you want to take it away?
Sure thing. Hello, everybody. I'm so excited you're tuning in to this Google Hangout. Catherine and I are just really excited to be sharing some of the secrets that we have discovered to creating our lives. So this webinar is called Revealing What It Really Takes to Change Your Life, a behind the scenes look into revealing the secrets to true change. Now, I know from my experience, before 4 years ago, I was really struggling. However, I knew that change was possible. I knew that I could have money flowing abundantly. I knew that I could have happiness. I knew that I could have joy. I knew that I could have relationships where I felt good in them. I didn't feel like I had to be this other person, and all sorts of other things. I just knew it was possible. Oh yeah, by the way, I knew I could have beyond parking karma, right? Or being able to manifest a coffee. I just knew that more was possible for me. I could see it, I could feel it, I was embodying it, but I couldn't seem to get there. And one of the things that Catherine and I were talking about was, what if we share some of the sort of behind the scenes things that we started to notice and become aware of that might be able to contribute to other people having that thing click, that go, oh, that's how you're doing it. Because I know that that happened a lot for me, where I was like, I feel it, I embody it, I see it, but nothing seems to be changing, or it's like slow change. But there's these little like secrets, right? Like behind the scenes that nobody's really talking about, and nobody's really talking about them because it's not something that we think about sharing. It's just like a shift, and all of a sudden it's just different. So we're going to share with you some of those shifts that we just went, oh, and then we just started doing it differently. Things started changing, but you kind of forget to talk about. Okay? So Catherine, do you want to mention anything else about that?
No, it's just, I was having a conversation with my husband recently, and he's like, people always see like you're traveling the world, you have this great business, you're doing all this stuff. He's like, people don't actually see like how much like how hard you work and how much you like struggles come your way. And he was acknowledging me, and he was also saying to me, hey, like, yes, you have this great life, and I watch you every day overcome obstacles that people behind the scenes don't see it. They don't know. So all they see is, oh, this great life, you're awesome, you're traveling, you have the perfect, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I wonder what your business would look like if people actually saw that every day I watch you overcome some serious obstacles. He's like, I think people would connect more if they knew what it is you're doing. So, we're here today because we want to say to you, like, we don't have perfect lives. We have challenges every day about our body, with our relationships, with our family, with, for me, raising a puppy and a child. And it's like, and I don't make the obstacles significant. So I'm excited to dive in and really, like, kind of unzip the exterior, so you guys can see that it's possible for you too, because this isn't about, hey, look at Corey and I. This is about, we actually believe fully in your magic, and if we can do it, so can you. And so we want more playmates, and not just wherever, but we want you to see that it's possible for you. So if you're struggling in your life, if you're struggling with your money, if you're having trouble in your relationship, if you have no idea where you're going to live next month, like all of those things, we actually want to say, like, we have been there, and it's not easy, it's not fun, and it's really hard, and we want to say, hey, we were there too, and we know that if you use these tools that we used, and if we kind of show you what we did to get there, that you can then have hope for creating the change you'd like to see. So
Definitely, definitely. And I am totally with you on that. I heard recently that somebody in a class in Canada asked the founder of Access Consciousness and said, well, what's the deal? Corey Michelle just asks questions and things just show up. And he was just like baffled with like why wasn't his life showing up like my life. And Gary Douglas says, well, do you know what she does behind the scenes? And he's like, oh, it's not just about asking these questions that activate the universe. It's like there's other moving parts and pieces to the puzzle that are creating the whole entire life. So if you're just asking a question and then waiting for magically the unicorn Pegasus with fairy dust and a bag full of $1 million bills to show up, you might be missing some other components of what it actually takes to create your life. And so it feels like sometimes we're in a little bit of a fantasy because we've been taught that, manifestation, you just ask and receive and all this kind of stuff is just, magical. Well, there is a magic component to it because we're letting go of the conclusion of how. We're letting go of the linear reality of you have to do this and then that and then this and then that. And if you be this, then you get this. Like you're letting go of all of that to allow it to show up the way it does. But there's a bazillion actions that both Catherine and I take every single day to catalyze those things showing up with ease. Okay? So let's get going. Catherine, what is one of the things that create, well, what's the first thing you'd like to share? Let's just start there.
Yeah, so I think the first thing is that I go through, I'm just going to call it the shit almost every day. Like, I have judgments about my body. I have judgments about my money flows. I have judgments about who I think I am in the world. And every day I have to go, okay, choose judgment or choose my future. Choose judgment or choose my future. And some days I literally choose the judgment and it does not create what I'd like. And other days it's like people think there's a secret formula, and I kind of equate it, and I say this a lot, like going to the gym. When you've never exercised a certain muscle, there is a muscle that I've had to exercise, which is, oh my God, judgment isn't real. Judgment is just me buying this reality that's like, hey, boo, 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 right? Or my future. And this reality, most people go, oh, I'm gonna like go to the therapist about the judgment. I'm gonna see my shaman about the judgment. I'm gonna go to a healer about the judgment. I'm gonna talk to my best friend about the judgment. I'm gonna try and get to the bottom of this judgment, because if I get to the bottom of the judgment, then I'll have the choice to create my future. And what I've had to consciously do every day since starting this practice and creating this business is the judgments are there every day. And I have never been able to get to the bottom of a judgment and actually feel like I have more choice. And so what I do is I literally go, okay, I'd rather choose what's going to create my future than buy that I can dig, because when I dig, guess what? I find more shit to judge. I find more stuff to like talk about. I find more things that are like, oh, this is a problem, versus, oh, I'm just going to actually choose not judgment. I'm going to choose what's going to create my future, because the whole of judgment, there isn't, I have yet to find a solution by going down that road.
Yeah, right. Like, I haven't either. I haven't found a solution down that hole either. And what I used to believe is that there was this cycle. I kept hearing, you should be a non-judgment, right? Or not judge things, or release the attachment to judgment, things like that. But then something would show up, and I'd be like, oh, judgment, blah, blah, blah. And so then I'd be like, okay, there's a judgment, let's release it. And then I would start judging myself for not being able to have no judgment about this judgment, and then the cycle would just go round and round and round and round. And then at one point, I was all of a sudden like free for a couple of days, like, of judgment. And I was like, whoa, I'm not judging myself. And holy cow, this is amazing. And then it kind of started again. And I was like, wow, there's that space of choice where you can literally choose not to judge yourself, or not to judge situations, or not to put significance on certain things. And what happens is when you choose not that, when you choose to create something different, or choose something that expands, or choose what's actually true, because a judgment's never true, right? And that's what we're trained basically to believe, is that our judgments are true and real, and that's what locks them in, and that's why we keep running around in the hamster wheel, is because we believe they're true, right? So one of the things for me was just like you said, Catherine, is what if the judgments aren't true? Because they never are. And then what else is possible here? What else can I choose right now? And practicing that muscle was really hard for me because when I first started this practice, I wasn't asking any questions at all. I was a know-it-all. I thought I knew everything, which was basically killing me and my whole life. Killing my money flows, killing my body, killing everything. And because I thought I knew it all, because I was actually really aware, but I never gave myself credit for it, never acknowledged myself for that, I was running around having lots of answers and lots of conclusions. So even asking the question, what else is possible here? What would actually work for me here? What's the truth here? I started going, oh, what if I don't have to have all the answers? What if I don't have to just go straight to judgment or conclusion? What if I can actually just be in that space of choosing something different because I chose something different? And that actually started to give me the space of going, oh, I don't have to choose to beat myself up anymore. I don't have to choose to judge my debt as so horrible and wrong, or judge my body as a terrible, horrible thing, or judge the fact that I had never been married or had children as like the biggest crime on the planet. Like, what else could I choose here? And the things that I started to choose was, what if everything's okay? What if I'm not as messed up as I thought I was? And what if whatever is going on really isn't as big deal as I thought it was? And just asking those questions gave me the space of like, oh, that's a lot lighter, right? And so if you're new to the Access Consciousness tools, then the truth makes you feel light, lies make you feel heavy and contracted. And one thing I just wanted to mention real quick is we're going to share with you as much as we possibly can in about 30 or 45 minutes. And then we're going to bring Jolie on, and we're going to take her and you through an exercise that will have you tap into the gap from where you are now to what you want to create, and then we're going to actually make some new connection points for you. So I just wanted to throw that in there. So Catherine, what's your next piece?
Yeah, I mean, and this was a hard one for me to swallow is, when I was in my 20s and making six figures and, I basically sold everything. I got rid of my business. I moved to Colorado. I basically moved here with a bed and a couple suitcases. And, I was I had some money, but I spent it all in grad school. So I was broke. And I would look at people, and there was this immediate like, oh, what are they doing that I'm not, right? Oh, God, I suck. I can't make money. I miss traveling. I miss having a spendable income. I missed like my lifestyle. And what I know that I did then was that I made myself feel worse. Right? So I bought the excuse of I don't have money. I bought all these things. And when I came across Access, somebody, and I think it was you, Corey, you were like, I'll have that, I'll have that, I'll have that. And I was like, oh my God, I've been making myself contract, feel smaller, feel less than, because I don't have XYZ. I don't have the new car. I don't have money in the bank. I haven't taken a trip in 12 months, blah, blah, blah. And when I started looking at that, what I did was I looked at people who were doing business well. I looked at people who were doing relationship well. I looked at people who were totally in their bodies in a way. It didn't matter the size. It was the energy of their body that I was looking for. And I went, I'll have that. And what I did to change my business, because my husband left his job when my son was 2 weeks old. And I was like, you did what? And so I was like determined to create my business. And so people are always like, how did you do it so quickly? I researched people that I admired. I looked at what people were doing that were successful. So I watched webinars. I looked at people's web pages. I looked at how they were selling or marketing, and I did my research because I was like, I'll have that. I'm going to have it. And if I didn't know how to do it, I asked somebody who knew what programs they used, what they used for their website, who they hired as their web designer. Like, I asked people so that I got the energy of I'm having that. I don't care what that is, I'm having it. And then I did my research. And that to me was a huge change versus oh my God, how come they have, like there was a contraction, how come they have it and I don't? And when I went into, well, I'm going to create this business no matter what, I was determined to figure out who was doing what and how they were doing it and like what they were doing that made their body sing or their business sing. So I did my research and I never left me out of the equation. So it was like, if they can have it, I can too. And I teach this, with people with their bodies, with their businesses, with their relationships. It's like, it's not, it's about seeing the energy that you like and going, I'll have it. And then doing your research or whatever is necessary versus sitting on the couch and going, wah, wah. Right? Because we could all do wah, wah all day long for all the crap that's been thrown our way. Or we can get up off the couch and go for a walk or, smell a plant or play with peacocks or to get into the energy of lightness.
Yeah. Well, I love what you said there because I've been doing that too. And one thing I'd like to add, when I see something or I perceive an energy that I'd like to have, I not only say, I'll have that, like it's like a declaration, I will have that, but I also learned that if you tune into the energy of it, then, and it like literally bring it into your body is like, yeah, I'll have that. And then our bodies start to go to create for us as well. And one of the things I realized is at one point I started seeing pictures on Facebook about Bali. And there was all these gorgeous photos of swimming pools and infinity pools. And for a while I was posting these swimming pools. This was a few years ago. And I was like, I'm going to go here. Who wants to come with me? And it was this invitation. And I didn't know where I was going to get the money because I was still flat broke and $150,000 in debt then. Like, it was not, in my world, a possibility to spend $1,400 on a ticket to Bali, spend a few weeks there, have, like, whatever I required, right, and then take work off at the same time. That was so not even something that I would throw down for, but I was saying yes to it. I was like, yes, I will have a trip to Bali. Yes, I will go to Costa Rica. Yes, I will be swimming in that infinity pool, and not even worrying about the how. But every time I connected with one of those pictures, I was like, my body was like, I could feel myself jumping into that pool. I could feel myself smelling the air. I could feel myself there. Like, what would it be like to be in Bali right now? And my body would just light up every time I'd see one of those pictures. Well, come to find out, when I took my Bali trip last year, we took pictures and I came back and I was like, oh my goodness, these pictures look really familiar. It was the exact same pool as one of the pictures that I had posted like 2 years before. And I was like, oh my goodness, I actually like created the exact pool that I had posted. And I was just thinking about this the other day. I'm like, okay, so what else, what other energies would I like to have in my life? And I was like remembering that, going, let's post some more of those on Facebook, because I always connect with everything that I post on Facebook. And for me, it's like tuning into the universe and saying, yes, universe, look at this, I will have this. And then it starts to show up. Okay, so I'm like activating all of it. And I think that's one of the secrets, right? It's not just about saying, yes, I want to go to Bali because, how am I going to do it? I wonder how that's going to show up, or I wonder how I could because I don't think I can. It's more like, I'll have that someday, whenever it shows up. Yes, I say yes to that, right?
Yeah, and I think that true change really occurs when you make a demand to continue to make choices that expand you versus buying the contraction of, I can't do that, I can't afford it, I don't have the time, I'm sick, my body hurts. Like we are all going to have those excuses all the time. I have a puppy and a 21-month-old. I've got plenty of reasons to have lots of excuses, and we all do. We all have plenty of excuses. My back hurts, my body's tired, I'm sore, I've worked a lot. And what I've realized too is, there's two more things I want to talk about, but one is wow, it just left my universe. Okay, so we'll talk about the other one. So the other one that kind of is like, for me at least, a really big unzipping and a revealing is that, my finances aren't always pretty, right? And what I do, because one day I'm going to be dead, And I'm certainly in the grave not going to go, oh my God, I really wish that I would have like paid off that $20,000, right? I'm going to go, damn it, I wanted to go to Bali, you know? And so it's not to tell people, hey, you should go in debt, right? But I've had a conversation with Gary Douglas, and I think Corey has too. And it's like, there are two different kinds of debt. There's unconscious debt, and then there's conscious debt. And if you're looking at creating your life and you don't have money right now, or you don't have credit, or you don't, you know, and you're struggling, it's like, what's it going to take to change it? One of the things is to, one, not make the debt significant, right? And two, to go, well, if money wasn't the issue, what would I choose? Because I've actually created more debt in certain areas because I asked the question, well, if money wasn't an issue, what would I choose? And if it's light, and if I choose it, what will my life look like in 5 years? And if I get like this, there have been times where I'm like, you know, like I didn't have the money for facilitators in Rome a year ago when I took my son. I took my 5-month-old on my stomach to Rome. I didn't have it. I put it on a credit card. But I asked, if I choose it, what does my life look like? Right? I've since been able to pay that off, but there have been moments along my journey where I go into debt to create my future. And so many people have so much shame around debt that one of, for me at least, and Corey may have a different viewpoint, is like, debt is okay if you're creating your future, if you're willing to not make it significant, and if you're willing to use the tools to ask questions. So it's not about like, oh yeah, I want the Lamborghini, but I can't afford it, or oh, I want, you know, a $3,000 a month mortgage, but I can only afford a $1,200 mortgage. It's about asking questions to make smart choices to see what your future looks like. And if that includes spending past your comfort zone in the moment, but you know it's going to create more, you know, Richard Branson talks about it. A lot of like really strong entrepreneurs talk about it, is like there are risks you have to take, but you see the result is going to create something greater for the planet, so you choose that instead. And so, you know, Corey and I both have some debt, and we're like, yes, and, right? Yes, and
Yeah.
it's like not making debt significant. So a lot of people think, oh, because you're doing all this travel, you've got everything figured out. No, I don't. Every day I look at my, you know, I look at my finances. I look at what's going to create more for my future, what's going to create more for my business, what's going to create more for my family, and then I make choices along the way. So, you know, this is not to say go out and be reckless with your spending, go out and get yourself into massive debt, but what do you want to create, and would you be willing to not allow any obstacle to be significant to validate your reason to not create it?
I love that. I love that, Catherine, because the way I was spending before was totally unconsciously, and I also didn't know how to create money on my own either, because I was completely refusing money at every single turn. And when I had racked up my $150,000 of debt, right? Like people will come to me and they say, well, I'm really stressed about $6,000, and I'm like, really? Try on 150, because how unconscious do you have to be to create $150,000 of debt, right? Because I kept believing that something else was possible. And what I see now is I don't unconsciously spend. I actually am very conscious in my spending, and I'm always asking the question, if I choose this, will it create more for me, my business, my reality? If I choose this, what will my life be like in 5 years? If I don't choose this, what will my life be like in 5 years? I recently hired a branding company that was quite the pretty penny, but I asked a bunch of questions, and I got this like whole new reality with my business if I chose it. And I just asked, I said, will I be able to create over $1 million if I choose this? And I got an outstanding yes, do it yesterday. So I was like, okay, great. I wonder where that money is coming from. And I am leveraging a loan basically so that I can have that, versus saying, no, I don't want to go into any more debt, because that's like, wait a second, if that's going to create more for you and you ask the question and you get a yes, Not to try to force it, because some people do that. They're like, I really want it. They think it's the answer. You want to destroy and uncreate all the answers you have about it and just tune into the energy. And if you get a yes, it's like, okay, well, if it's a yes, guess what? There's actually a way. There's actually something. If you're willing to consider all possibilities, there's actually a way to have that show up. One of the things that I did, I was going to an event. This is still when I was creating money, but I didn't have a lot of extra money. And I was going to an event out in Austin with Jeneth Blackert and Dr. Dane, and I was like, all right, well, there's something that's light about this, and I said, if I choose this, will I make my money back? And I got a yes, and I said, ooh, well, if I choose this, will I make 10 times my money back, like 10 times the money I spent on the travel and the hotel and the expenses and all that stuff? And I got a yes, and I'm like, ooh, well, I wonder what I'm going to receive there. And I said, if I choose this, will I receive 100 times my money back? And I got a yes. And I was like, wow. And I didn't ask beyond that, but it was a huge yes. So it was like, because that was about as much as I could have received, because I think I spent about $600 on the whole trip, right? So I was like, okay, 100 times 600, yeah. And after that, you know, my business started to expand even more. And I can't say that it was directly related to that, but simply by asking the question and saying yes to the lightness is really what I'm finding for myself that catalyzes even more and more and more possibilities. And it's not about debt. It's not about all of our points of view about debt. It's really about leveraging what you have, leveraging your resources, asking for beyond, making sort of unreasonable requests of yourself, of people, of the universe, and saying, hey, what's possible here? And how can I actually have this? And I'm interested in having the lightness of what else is possible. This is in alignment with what I'm asking for. Let's go for it. It's not like Catherine said about, you know, having the expensive mortgage because you want to look good or something like that. It's really about, you know, is this going to create more? So yeah, I love that. And what's so cool too is the more aware that I become around my spending, it's like I want less. Like, I don't require a lot anymore. What I do choose is really juicy, and I love it. So I'm fulfilled. I'm filled up. Whereas before, my parents taught me to buy a lot of crap from Crapco. Like, that's what we did, is you buy a lot of things that are inexpensive. And so now I have less things probably than I did before, but they're all like amazing and awesome, feel good on my body. I use them. I love seeing them in my house. They're a contribution to me. So what would it be like is like everything you chose in your life is a contribution to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's one of my secrets.
Yeah, and I love that. It's like being willing, you said something, I'm going to paraphrase it, but it's like being willing to ask the question without concluding what you think you want the answer to be. Right? Yeah. Like, and I'll share an example for me recently that was actually probably one of the most challenging experiences I've had to date in my business, and I chose to go on this retreat, and you know, it wasn't really light ever. I had an awareness that it would be a really challenging experience, but what I did is I said, if I choose this, and if I go, what does my life look like in 5 years? I got that it was lighter. And I was like, really? I asked, will it be easy? I got a no. And so I was ready to say no. And then I asked, what does the planet look like in 5 years if I go? And I got like a, and I was like, oh crap, I guess I gotta go, right? And so I didn't realize how challenging the retreat would be, but I had a closing ceremony with the beings that were there on the phone today with some of them, and I got this like, wow, I was supposed to be there for the future of my business, for the future of the planet, for the future of them, for the person who owned the retreat center and the land, and it like sort of had to separate myself out. It wasn't easy, but I'm really clear on my target, and my target is to help people have more of themselves. And so when you get really clear on your target and you ask questions related to, is it going to expand your target or contract it, like I've made some difficult decisions, but I'm always interested in the greater outcome, not just the immediate like outcome in my pocketbook. And so there have been choices where it hasn't made any sense to choose it. And I didn't get the money back right away, but I got the money back 6 months later, 12 months later. And it's like, oh, right. Because I followed my knowing, even though I didn't know, I followed the energy of the question, which was go. It's like what Corey said. If I go to this thing, will I get 10 times my money back, 100 times my money back? And if you guys get that it's light, it's like if it's going to create more joy, if it's going to expand your repertoire, if it's going to, contribute to the joy factor and make your body happy, it's like you can't really go wrong because, again, there's judgment or there's choice. And so you might as well go towards the choices that are going to light you up versus buying the validation of why you shouldn't choose it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. The validation of why you shouldn't choose it. So one of the other things that, man, I have really struggled with is relationships. And I continued to pick the same guy over and over and over and over again. And I was picking a guy who was abusive, pretty much. The same guy. Different bodies, different names, different looks. Abusive, not honoring of me, not a contribution to me. Like, how much more of a, I'm just going to call it dirt bags, could I actually choose? They would lie to me. They would tell me one thing and then do another thing. They would be hiding things. And I was just like, am I getting this over and over and over again? And so after about the third or fourth or fifth or sixth one, I was like, okay, what is going on here? And there was a point in time where I was like, I give up. Like, I'm not even going to do this anymore. And as I'm moving through each one, I'm looking at, okay, so what is this? What am I choosing? What am I not willing to be aware of? What am I not willing to receive? What do I believe about relationships? What do I believe about me in relationships? Where is this stemming from? How much am I duplicating or resisting and reacting to my parents' relationship? Where have I idealized other things? So I'm looking at everything I possibly can, and I'm clearing stuff. This is like been going on for 4 years, right? So I'm clearing stuff and clearing stuff and clearing stuff, and finally I'm like, I find somebody, I'm like, yeah, this guy's amazing or whatever, and then he does the same thing, and I'm like, are you kidding me, Corey? You're smarter than this. You're more aware than this. You're definitely more conscious, right, than this. And I'm sitting here going, what is wrong with me that I keep choosing the exact same thing over and over and over and over again? And for me, it's what I've realized is that you gotta be, if you want something to change, you gotta never give up. Whether it's with your relationships or money or your body or whatever, it's like keep going. Like literally keep going. And every time it shows up, I'm like clearing everything. I have a session with somebody. I'm like, what else can I be aware of here? What else can I know? What's it gonna take to choose differently? And as I continue to do that, they would show up a little bit differently, a little bit differently, a little bit differently, and then finally showed up completely differently in the space of which the guy that I'm seeing now is this space of what I've always known was possible with two people. And I'm sitting here going, thank God I never gave up. Thank God I went through every single one of those to unlock a piece, even though it felt slow, even though I was sick of it, even though I wanted to cry my eyes out, because again, really, Corey, you really that stupid? All of the self-judgment, right, of like, seriously, are there really no men out there that are decent? Destroying all my beliefs about that, right, and continuing to choose again, okay, let's try again, and it felt a lot like getting up and riding a bicycle, and then skinning my knee, and then get up riding again, and then breaking my arm, and then getting up and riding again and getting a concussion. But if I were to have gone into the judgment of me and the wrongness of me, there's no way I'd be experiencing what I'm experiencing now in all areas. Money, right? I could really judge myself for being in my early 30s racking up $150,000 of debt, right? I could really judge me for having how many relationships that I can't even count, right? And none of them ever working out, right? So it's like that never willing to give up always willing to try again and to keep going and to keep going and to see and become aware of more and more and more is like, that's why sometimes it looks like my life is really amazing to everybody, because I just keep going. I don't make, now I know I don't make it significant anymore. I was like, oh, that didn't work out. Like, I was dating somebody recently, and I had told some people I was really excited about him, and he disappeared, right? He was out of my life pretty quickly, and people were like, well, we thought that he was going to be around for a while. I was like, no, apparently not. I wonder who's next. Right? And so there became this lightness of the curiosity of, well, at minimum, maybe I'll just play with a million people until I die in this body, right? Until I'm done here. Or maybe something else greater can show up than that. But having the willingness to continue on and to never give up is really that tenacity and that determination and the dedication to you in creating your life. Now, not everybody wants to choose that. Some people, like somebody I know in my life who will remain nameless, she got a divorce, and she's like, well, I thought I was going to be married forever, and I'm done. So never dated. It's been 15 years since she's been divorced. Never would consider dating anybody. Never wants another relationship, because that means, you know, fill in the blank for all of her conclusions. And it's like, she doesn't have an interest in that. She would rather just play it safe and never be that heartbroken again. Okay, cool, that's definitely one choice. But if you know something else is possible, the only way to it is to get back up on the bike and do it again, right? And then get back up on it and do it again.
Yeah, and I want to point out to people what Corey's talking about, and there's something that she does that's different, you know, is like never, and she's talked about it, but I'm just going to rename it, is never giving up on believing that it's possible.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, okay, rather than going, oh, universe, I guess you're right. I guess I suck at relationships, so I'm just going to give up. It's like always seeing that on the other side of the obstacle is the magic, right? Is the prize, is the doorway into more knowledge, more awareness, more ease, more all of it. And so it's this idea that most of us, what we do, we meet the obstacle and we immediately go, oh, I guess the universe is right. Wah, wah. I'm going to go back here. Right? Versus, well, that's interesting. There's another obstacle. I wonder what else is possible. And Gary Douglas, the founder of Access, he goes, you know, I always ask, what's the quickest way around this, through it, to the other side? So some people think like the quickest way is to like bulldoze this wall down, bulldoze the obstacle. Well, what if the quickest way, because bulldozing takes a lot of energy and effort, what if the quickest way is to walk around the wall, right? To peek over it. You know, there are so many ways, but ultimately it's about you guys believing in yourself enough to know that every obstacle that comes in your path is just an opportunity for you to see how freaking amazing you are. And to not make that obstacle significant, because every person on the planet has enough obstacles to, you know, roll out a red carpet with. Versus, well, sure, there are plenty of obstacles, and
yep, exactly.
Significant.
Exactly. And I seems like I used to make the obstacles really significant. Like, oh no, there's this big wall, right? And I see other people doing it, and I coach a lot of people around the obstacles, right? Like, oh, this thing fell through, we were really counting on it. We make it really significant. And when we step back from it, and like, all right, well, there's the obstacle, there's the challenge, there's the thing. All right, so what is the quickest way around this? What is the easiest way around this? How can we change this? What else is possible beyond this? Can we just disappear it, right? Or is there something we actually need to do about it? So stepping into the question of it, God, it helps so much. So one of the things, one of my participants last summer, she wanted to do the Access Conscious 5-Day with me, and she had kind of put it off for a while because of money, because she had this debt and she had a fixed income, and I was like, well, I wonder what's possible. And she's like, well, Corey, could I do a payment plan? And I was like, well, I don't do theirs very often, but if it's the only way that you can come, then let's see what would work out, and here's what I require. And she said, okay, great. And I said, you know what, just do this for me. Ask, what else is possible beyond what you can imagine here? And what would it take to be able to pay for this class in full? And she goes, okay, I'll ask. And the next day, her mother called her up and said, hey, I want to pay off your debt. How much do you have? And so she told her the number, and she was like, Corey, you're not going to believe this, but my mom just called me. She never gives me money, ever has given me any money, but all of a sudden she wants to pay off my debt. And she's like, so should I include the class on my credit card so she can pay that off or not? And I said, well, let's just check the energy. So we asked if she chose that, what would it be like in 5 years if she didn't, and it was lightest to put that on the credit card and have her mom pay it off. Like, that was the lightest possibility that we could come up with. And she's like, holy cow. I was like, well, how awesome of a creator are you to have created a solution that was beyond what you could have imagined? She's like, I never would have imagined my mother calling to say she's going to pay all of my debt off. So how does it get better than that? When we stop using our yeah buts, when we stop using our conclusions, when we stop using the obstacles and the challenges as our reason not to, as our reason why we can't, then we can create anything. Because like I said before, anytime there's a lightness, anytime that you know something is possible, like you know it, there is a way. But you can't ever, you won't ever get there if you have a yeah but or if you're making it significant, the challenge significant. What you've got to do is be able to look at it and go, well, I wonder what's possible now. What's it going to take to be able to have this? I wonder what the infinite possibilities are to having this will show up as. Okay? So, Catherine, do you have anything else before we move into the exercise?
I think just that when you were asking all the questions, like what's the quickest way around it, what's the challenge, I also often ask, like, wow, what did I like about creating this in my life? And immediately I go, oh my gosh, that's so cute, because I in my life like to blame people. Nobody else does that, right? They did this to me, or, you know, my husband wasn't blah, 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 right? It's like I've gotten out of that, and I'm like, wow, I wonder what I liked about, creating that my husband quit his job when our son was 2 weeks old. And I went, oh my God, I created that. I created that so that I could be this crazy creator of my business. Because I would not have created my business the way I did if I wasn't, quote unquote, forced to create it. So it's like when we start to acknowledge that everything that happens to us in our lives is somehow something that we created. So the shit, the joy, the good, you know, the mom paying off our debt. It's like, what did you like about creating that? Right? And then, wow, if it's stuff that's working for you, I'll have more of that. If it's stuff that is challenging, you go, that's interesting. Like Corey, I liked creating that the same man would come into my life just with different hair color and different eyes and a different body, right? Wow, what did I like about creating that? Oh, I thought blah, 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 right? So when you start to acknowledge that everything happens as your creation, you can start to have a bigger impact on actually creating your future. You start to recognize that every choice you make is you in the mix of your life rather than life happening to you. Yep. And I think that's a big one. So that's all I got. But so I think we should dive into our exercise and say hi to our guest and what else. And I want to say on the chat box, if you guys are joining us live, there is a chat box. All you have to do is click to the side, and it'll have a little chat box. If you do have a question that feels like it's pertinent to the moment, go ahead and pop a question in, and we can contribute to you in that way. So I just wanted to say, if you guys aren't seeing the chat box, it is up and live, and if you want to be a part of this, we'd love to have you. So I say, let's say hi to Miss Jolie.
Hi, Jolie.
Hello.
Welcome. Thanks for choosing to be the live person that we take through this exercise. Now, this exercise we're going to take you through, and really you is everybody. So what we would like everybody besides Jolie and Jolie to do is pretend like we're talking to you. Like, really look to see in your life, in your reality, in your awareness, the questions that we're asking, and not just watch like you're watching TV, but really be in this exercise, because this exercise we're going to take you through is called, I call it a possibility session. So if you ever have a possibility session with me, could be possibly what we kind of dive into. And really, it's all about creating possibility and sort of bridging that gap, like bridging that gap from where you are to where you would like to be, and looking at the challenges and seeing how many ways around we can actually find and see what else is possible, what else would contribute to you having that. So, Catherine, do you want to start?
Sure, and I think what we'll do is just if it's light for you, grab a pen and a paper. If it's not light for you, then grab your phone, but you may or may not want to take notes. So basically we're going to walk Jolie through inviting her into a 5-day. Right? So 5 days to change your life with Access Consciousness. Corey and I both facilitate these classes a lot, and we love having conversations with people, because a lot of you that are watching this have wanted to take a 5-day and maybe it hasn't been the right time or the right amount of money, or fill in the blank. You have a family, right? And so we actually want to just dive in and be as transparent as we can about our process of how we invite someone in, whether it's a 5-day workshop with us, or a one-on-one client, or a 12-month-long program. We want to sort of show you guys the behind the scenes of how we create a programs, of how we invite people in, so that one, you can see how we do it so you can use it in your business or in your life, and two, so that you can see that anything that you're looking at as a possibility, say it's a 5-day with Corey and I, say it's a strategy session with somebody, say it's paying $2,000 for a program, you can begin to look at these questions for yourself to see if it's light, what you'd like to choose, and how you want to move beyond the obstacle.
Yep. So awesome. So Jolie, can you tell us a little bit about what you're creating, what you see for the next 5 years for yourself, what that looks like?
Yes. So I have a life coaching company, and I host different summits in San Diego, and I have a group coaching program, and I do one-on-one coaching. So it's growing the business, it's attracting amazing clients, and it's really stepping into my own leadership.
Cool.
Awesome.
And what I would ask is, when you look at your business, what for you is the reason that you have the business? What lights you up about contributing to other people? What is that your reason for creating what you're doing?
Yeah, I love that question. My reason is to make people feel uncomfortable with playing a small game, and to remind people of, as you guys call it, the limitless beings that we are, and to remember that we can create anything. And like you guys are talking about, everything that shows up is a function of what we've created. And to remind people that and get them to remember who they are, and my own journey of remembering who I am, this is all what I love playing in, for sure.
Cool. And when you look at that, where are you really good at that, and what are your shortcomings?
I'm really good at understanding what the people who are just starting out on this journey, who are beginning to understanding awareness and consciousness, and really looking at their life and creating intentionally. I'm really good at having them see what else is possible for them, and I'm really good at leaving them feeling inspired and motivated, and that they can do it. And I guess shortcomings would be a belief that I'm just young, and that I need more life in front of me to be able to create all the things that I want to create.
Cool. And what are some of the things that you want to create in the next 12 months?
So, what's really real and recent for me is a recent transition out of a marriage engagement. And so I've been sort of in the understanding of I'm taken care of. I'm engaged to a very successful entrepreneur, and what I'm doing is sort of because I love to do it, not because I need to pay any bills. And so in the next year of my life, and even starting now, is this is you know, my coaching company, my coaching programs aren't just kind of for fun, but it's actually creating that abundance and wealth in my own life, and it's my way of supporting myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is so exciting. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jolie, what do you feel like will be or have been, or will be the biggest obstacles or challenges in the next 12 months?
You know, a big one for me is like setting up a routine in my life that serves me, like getting it like good night's sleep every night, doing yoga, eating good, and so that I can come and be on my computer doing my work, getting new clients, and doing my thing and being present. And so it's really taking care of myself. It's doing my own healing, you know, continuing that process of my own inward journey so I can continue to show up for people. And knowing that I'm enough to ask for what I'm worth as a coach, and to be able to ask for, you know, a high-end package and ask people to work with me one-on-one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so do you feel like you're asking right now what you're worth, or what you'd like to be asking for?
No, I'm still at my like introductory prices.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. I think all the coaches out there are like, yeah, I started there too, or I'm still there. So awesome. So, and I know, how long have you had your business so far?
It's been about just under a year.
Just under a year. Okay. So that's really good to know. Just under a year, and you're still at the introductory prices. So no wrongness about that, but just notice that after a year. Now, are the people that you're coaching having, what kind of experience are they having in their lives after they coach with you?
Amazing results, really great results. I've been working with young women who are just starting out on their path, who are like either hating their job, in a really nasty relationship, they can't get along with their parents, and so they have a ton of tension in their life, and then I get to be the one that shows them a new way. And so, yeah, just tons of breakthrough, tons of value for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. So what's one of the reasons that you haven't like raised your prices yet, or stepped into maybe new or expanded pricing for yourself, or packages even?
Because I'm the prices that I am at right now still feels like a stretch to be selling.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. Catherine, do you want to take it from there? I have a feeling you have something to say.
There's so many different places to take
it. I know.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I love to do, and I coach people on this a lot, is to look at what you'd actually like to be charging. But here's what I love to do is go, well, what does your package want to be charging? Not what do you want your package to be, what does your package want to be? Or what do your sessions want to be? There you go. Okay, so you can either say that number out loud, Jolie, or you can keep it in your head. It's up to you.
Like $600 a month.
Okay, $600 a month for coaching. And how many times are you coaching somebody in a month long?
Once a week.
Okay, great. So once a week. Mm-hmm. So that's $150 a session. Great. And so what I love to do, so did you ask your it's cute because when you said $600 a month, you went, right? There was like a total, rather than, oh my God, I charge $600 a month. Yes, right? There's a total difference, and this is perfect for people to see, because what Corey and I do really well is we're like, awesome. And what if we could get your energy aligned with that number, right? And so if you're charging, what I teach people to do is go, okay, great, they want to be 600. So what we're going to do is we're going to build in, I call it your built-in self-raise, right? So you're like, oh God, 600 a month, I'm not there. I haven't been able to go there yet, but that's my goal. So it's like, when would you like to start charging $600 a month?
in a couple months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're so cute because you're like timid about it, and I can't wait to see like what happens when you take these tools and go, oh my God, it worked, right? My favorite thing to do is go, great. How about you do a 6-week special where you literally name that the price of your sessions are $600 a month, right? Or $600 for 4 sessions, or however you are packaging and branding yourself. And so you go, but for the next 6 weeks, if you buy now, you'll get my sessions at $450 a month, or $399, or $400. And so what that does, see the difference? Is one, it builds in a raise that you either get to choose or not choose. And 2, it lets people feel like they're getting a deal. So they're like, oh my God, I have to get with her now before she raises her prices. Mm-hmm. I've heard she's really good. And so, Jolie, are you getting testimonials and validation of all of the differences that people are having by working with you?
No.
Okay. So that is a huge, you want to say, oh my God, you want to see what people are saying about working with me? You kind of have to be your biggest supporter because no one else is going to do it for you. But the people that have seen like huge results, they're like, oh my God. And so sometimes it's like pulling teeth to try and get someone to actually write a testimonial for you. So what I do, right, and this is where we're like unzipping. You guys are like getting an inside look at what Corey and I do, and Corey might have some other stuff, but what I do is I go, hey, if you give me a testimonial in the next 7 days because I'm building a new part on my website, I'll gift you blank. So whether it's a pre-recorded recording of a class I had, whether it's a current package where I can just like slip them into the rest of the group, whether it's a 30-minute private strategy session, I gift people something for showing up for me within 7 days. And then I take those testimonials and I go, oh my gosh, here's a new package. You want to see what results people are having? So you literally have it on your website or you have it somewhere. And then it's like this strategy session, right? Where people are like, oh my God, they lost 10 pounds in 6 weeks. I want some of that. Or, wow, they got out of an abusive relationship, or they were able to quit their job and start their business. Like, you want to start posting people's ahas and then go, hey, for the next 6 weeks, if you'd like to work with me, it's not $600, it's whatever price that is for you. So then at the end of the 6-week period, you have a built-in raise, and you have tons of proof on working with you. So at the end of 6 weeks, like in 5 weeks from now, or maybe it's 2 months from now, but when you, right before the week before the raise, you contact all the people that signed up for your packages and say, hey, if you give me a testimonial in the next 7 days, I'll gift you blank. So that's one of the ways to build rapport, to get people on board with what you're doing, right? And to give yourself that raise that you've been wanting. Mm-hmm. So can you feel, thanks for letting me talk, but can you feel the difference in your body where you're like, oh my God, I don't actually have to maintain, oh my God, when am I going to get to $600 a month? Mm-hmm. Make sense?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think your life and business would look like in 6 months from now if you did this process?
What process?
Giving yourself a raise and getting the testimonials.
If that worked for me. So the thing that still what's coming up for me is that where would I be posting my specials? Would it be like on my Facebook page and all of that kind of promotional material? Because I mean, my audience as it is right now, they're being held back in a $300 3-month program. So I think before I can post like a 6-week special, there's some other things that have to happen, because I could post that on my Facebook right now and I wouldn't get a single hit on it. That's still a little out there for me.
Great. Okay, cool. Yeah, perfect. Awesome. Okay, so let's actually tune into for a minute because you've got a particular demographic right now, right?
Yeah.
Now let's let them be wherever they are and let your prices be with them, right? And then let's actually look at how many people are you actually connected to already that are waiting for you to step up into a more resonant price structure for you that is what they're looking for. Like they're not looking for the $300 coach, they're looking for the $600 coach. Okay, so if we just ask the energy of truth, is there more or less than two people?
Yeah.
Which one's lighter, more or less?
More.
More. Okay, so are there more or less than five people?
Yeah, probably more.
Okay, so are more or less than 10 people?
Honestly, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, cool. So this is a nice little exercise so you can get out of the conclusions we might have about your particular demographic or who you have been working with or what they may or may not be willing to pay and go, okay, so we can look at if we had a private session with Catherine and I, we could actually look at your pricing structure, right, your packages and all that kind of stuff and go, okay, so for the demographic that you currently have that you really enjoy serving, awesome. This is kind of what they're willing to pay or what they're able to pay. Great. So how can you leverage those, working with those people and possibly put them into group programs with maybe a couple of private sessions or a telecall series or whatever else you can do where you leverage the lower amount so you still serve them, right? And maybe you're even charging them a little bit less for a group program, however that works out, right? And then you go, okay, so the people that you want to spend your time with are the ones who are like willing to pay you more, right? They're the ones, the juicy ones. They're the ones that are like, I'm having it. I really want this change. Yes, I want to take a deep dive, and let's go. Okay, now you don't have to structure it this way. This is just one possibility to expanding your business. Because if you're at the price range that you're at now, it will be only so far you can grow it until you're going to run out of time, and you'll possibly get to this space where you're just burned out. Now, if you get to the space where you're burned out, lots of people say that, is it really being burned out, or is it really that you're not receiving enough back from the contribution that you're being? And a lot of times burned out feels that way. It feels like you're like, oh, God, I'm just giving so much, and you're not actually receiving back. So that's where increasing your prices to match that resonance makes it juicy. It's like, well, if you were receiving $600 a month for a 4-session package, what would that be like? Like, if you let your body like feel it, it's like, yeah. Like I can feel you like wanting to go there, right? You're like, ooh, that would be fun. Now let's just up it a little bit. So what would it be like to receive $1,000 a month? Right? So if we step into just the energy of it and we're like, okay, well, is there anybody that I'm currently connected to that would be interested in a $1,000 package? There's like some, but like if you go to, is there anybody in my network that would be willing to pay $600? Right? And look at that one. And so what if you actually rolled something out like a class or a group coaching or whatever to bring more of those people in that you're already serving and then offer 4 spots for $600. I only have 4, or you do like Catherine said, like to say, hey, we're taking an even deeper dive. I've got more training. Clients are getting amazing results. I'm expanding my business and I want to help you too. And do the deal if you want to and say, listen, this is the one time I'm only taking 4 people on, or however you do it, at this price, and then we're moving into the next price because we're creating some amazing results. These are life-changing results for people, right? Because that's really what you're creating, right? Like total life change with Jolie, right? And so then shifting into that. Okay, so everything that's coming up for you right now, everywhere you're like, but can I? Am I worth it? Like, can I really do it? Are people really going to pay me that? Will you just destroy and uncreate all that? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
good, bad, right, wrong, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And if you're not familiar with the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement, you can find it at theclearingstatement.com, and it's really our magic wand to kind of shift that energy. So, Catherine, do you have another piece for this?
Yeah, like I love what you're looking at. Like, wow, I'd really like to be charging $600 a month. And what Corey's talking about, your current pool may not be the people that are paying that. So my favorite question is when you guys get clear on your pricing, okay, cool, that is the pricing I'd like to be at. Where are all the people that I haven't even considered that are ready and willing to pay that immediately? And so, like, I loved your question, Jolie, about, well, oh my God, I can't really envision Facebook. Great. So is it an ad? Is it reaching out to 5 friends? Is it saying, hey, mom and dad, I'm doing this thing. Do you know anyone in your world? You know, it's about asking, like, okay, who's out there that wants to look for it? And then you'll be surprised because when you ask the question enough and get out of the conclusion of where or how, that person will then come to you, right? And go, hey, do you want to post an ad, or do you want to do a telesummit, or do you want to, right? And then you're like, holy crap, that matches the energy of, well, where are all the people that are looking for me that I don't even know it? Where are all the people that would pay $600 a month that I don't even know? So can you perceive the difference in that?
Yes.
Yeah. And what's beautiful about that is then it takes you out of the equation. Meaning, oh my God, I'm going to have to prove that I'm worth that amount. I'm going to have to prove that it's worth it, right? You literally go, oh my gosh, well, who's looking for me that would pay that? Oh my gosh, okay, that. And then it's like people hand you your credit card, and the first time they do, you're like, holy crap, it worked. And it's like the first time you start to receive that $600 a month, your body will jump to the 1,000 being way more possible, the 1,200 being way more possible, the 2,000 being way more possible. And so it's literally getting your body used to, oh my gosh, I am worth that. Because my favorite question to ask people is, well, do you trust yourself enough to buy like programs that work for you? Right? So Jolie, when you've bought a training or a coaching package or a program to increase both your self-worth and your business, have you trusted the decisions you've made?
Yeah.
Great. So would you be willing to trust that the people who are buying for your services, would you be able to trust that they're trusting themselves? Yeah, see that? Whoa, that's got a lot of energy on it.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to be willing, and we can do the Access Clearing Statement, but you have to be willing to trust the people that are coming to you, that they trust themselves. They're doing their questions and they're asking what they're worth, and they're looking at the target of their business or the target of their relationship or the target of their life. So everything that brings up about having to prove what you're worth rather than trusting them that they trust themselves to make the right decisions, will you destroy and uncreate that?
Yes.
Times a godzillion, right, wrong, good, bad, poc, pod, all 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds.
Yeah, so one of the things about this particular process, Julie, is these are really just ideas, right? And what we're doing is we're opening the door to more ideas. Now, you might end up going, oh my gosh, that was brilliant, and you create exactly what we said. Or you might be like, well, not quite that, but here's what it sparked, right? So whatever this conversation is creating, sparking, and whether you want to choose to send an email out today and launch something, or it takes a year or 6 months or whatever, it's all in the world of planting some seeds for something else is possible, because where you are now to where you know you want to be and all the people that you want to contribute to, there's just that gap. So let's take a different take at this. So let's look at, if you stay where you're at and serve as many people as you're serving right now and make the kind of money you're making right now, or maybe it grows, right? It grows a little bit or even a lot. In a year, if it's growing on the level that it is right now, in a year, what will that be like?
If it stays,
let me rephrase that question. If you actually keep your introductory prices for one more year, let's add that in there. If you keep your introductory prices and you're growing like you're growing, what's that going to be like in a year?
It won't be the game that I want to play.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So the question is what's it actually going to take for you to step up into receiving more, contributing what you really came to contribute, and connecting with the people, creating your business and connecting with the people that are in your bigger game, and you're in their bigger game. Right? Mm-hmm. So like that. Right? So one of the things that we wanted to bring to the table is the Access Consciousness 5-Day. Now, what's really cool about the 5-Day is one of the pieces we look at is your resonance with receiving. So what we typically find is that when we have somebody who's, and I was exactly in this place too, I had a very similar conversation that we're having right now, and I was Jolie. And what we looked at was where I was resonant with receiving. And it was, in my world now, really low compared to what I knew was possible. And we started working on that. And so in the 5-Day, we actually look at what are you resonant with? What are you choosing to create? What are you choosing to have as your obstacles and as your blocks? And a lot of times we're looking at things like an introductory price for a year. Or maybe some people, I know I've worked with a number of healers lately who have had their introductory prices go up to like decent prices for them, like average, and then they chose to shrink their prices and discount their prices back down to practically nothing, and they were surviving on air pretty much. I don't know how they were even living, but they just kept discounting because they didn't see the expansion. But really it wasn't a problem of their prices were too much, it was an issue of receiving. So one of the things that we do in the 5 days, we actually change your resonance for receiving. We actually take a look at what conclusions have you made about what you're able to receive, willing to receive, what's possible, what's right and good about what you've been receiving, what's wrong and bad about receiving. And we take a look at all of that and go, okay, great, so what if we can change all of that, up-level you on lots of different levels, and I wonder what life is going to be like in a year if we expand and God, it feels like this big funnel like this. Expand your receiving.
Can we play a game real quick?
Totally.
Okay. So what I want, because I want to involve everyone that's watching, is I want you to look at the amount of money that you would be willing to receive right now. Right now, if someone's giving you money for being you. So there's not a racking in your head, oh my God, what do I have to do to pay this person back? There's not a, oh my God, this is way too much money. There's just like, holy crap, this is the amount I'm willing to receive. So it could be $20, it could be $1 million. I want you to look in your own being, truth. What would you be resonant with receiving right now? Okay, and everything that number is, will you just throw in uncreate it? Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, POD, all 9 shorts, boys, means. Imagine what your life would look like a month from now if you were willing to double that number. Okay? Imagine what your life would look like a month from now if you were willing to triple that number. Okay? Woo. Okay, that's got some energy on it. Look at your life if you were willing to 10 times the number that you're willing to receive right now without paying it back, trying to figure out what to do with it, spending it. It's like somebody's giving you either $100 or $1,000, but it's in cash, or it's a check, but it's current currency right now. How much truthfully are you willing to receive and like honor you with that amount? Okay, so if it's lower than $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000, not a wrongness. There's just like, what if somebody could pay you $10,000 for being you right now? So that's when you look at your capacity to receive. And I just wanted to play the game because I want you guys to actually be really honest with yourself with how much you're willing to receive right now. And then, like, if your business is trying to make money and your number is really low, you probably want to change that, right? So it's like this honest conversation, which is fun just to look at. So go ahead, Corey. I just wanted to kind of bring that in.
I love that. I love that. Like the space in which you're willing to receive. Now, let's look at really quick. Are you willing? This is for everybody. Are you willing to receive or to create a business or your life greater than your family? Right? Are you willing to create a life and a business greater than, not better than, like competition, but like greater, grander than your friends? Right? And what would that be like when you create beyond your family? What if you had the most money in your family? What if out of all your friends you had the most money? And it's not about the money, but we just want to look at where we might be limiting ourselves with regards to creation, okay? And that's one place that we like to judge the crap out of everything, is money, right? Okay? So are you willing to go even bigger than that? All right. So what we look at in the 5-day is we really look at where are those gaps? Where are those places that you're unwilling to receive, or you have decided that this is the best you could do, or that we're operating from, like I was operating from my dad's financial reality, right? Or we're operating from resisting and reacting to something in this world. Like I just had a money class recently, and somebody was like, I don't even believe that money should exist. And I was like, well, it does. So how many lifetimes have you lived in other places where money didn't exist? You didn't even have to deal with this silly thing, silly creation called money. And she's like, oh my God, like a bunch. So great. So would you be willing to play the money game here? She's like, wow, that's totally different, right? So what we do is we actually spin things around, take a different look at them, change the energy. So then what starts showing up is more ease in choosing different, more ease in choosing greater, more ease in being you, more just juiciness in your life. Some people say that colors get brighter. They start to love their body more. Choose relationships that really juice them up. Start creating businesses that actually work for you, like work for you. Because just as Jolie said, if she goes another year choosing what she's choosing in her business and creating maybe a little bit better, right, on the angle that she's creating right now, the trajectory, then it's not going to be enough for her. So how do we quantum leap? How do we get completely beyond wherever we've created limitations? And the limitations aren't wrong. They're just there. So we're looking at how do we create beyond that? And what if we could reprogram you, or maybe unprogram you from everywhere you've been programmed or programmed yourself, such that you could actually start living in a reality, or living your life, creating your life from a whole different space. So in that energy, Jolie, in a year, for example, just to throw it up there, if you chose to come to a 5-day, Access Consciousness 5-day, which includes bars, foundation, level 1, it's 5 days, what would your life be like in 5 years?
Much more expanded.
Yeah, and then just check your business too. What would your business be like in 5 years?
Much greater.
Yeah, and what will your relationships be like in 5 years?
As good or better.
I know you have really great relationships, so how does it get better than that? Right? Now, let's just look at the opposite, right? Like, so if you don't choose the 5-day, what will your life be like in 5 years? Yeah, and all we're doing, we're not looking at the judgment of like, oh, you know, the class is the thing to choose because that's what's going to change your life. We just want to check on the energy, because we could be asking this question about, hey, if you're going to buy toilet paper tomorrow, what will your life be like in 5 years? We could literally just check the energy on everything, right? So we're just looking at what's more expansive and what's more contractive. And if you choose the one that's more expansive for you, then that's where that expansive energy is. There's something in the 5-day for you that's more expanded than not choosing it. Cool. That's all you need to know. Now, buying toilet paper or not buying toilet paper, if not buying toilet paper is more expensive, then great, choose that. So when we're looking at it from non-significance, but really just looking at the energy, then you can see what energy would you like to create for your future. Okay, so let's look at your money flows. If you don't choose the 5-day, for example, what will your money flows be like in 5 years?
Probably average.
Average, yeah. So, and then one of the questions I like to ask too is it lighter, heavier, or the same as the other one? So if we ask, what would your money flows be like in 5 years if you chose a 5-day? And then what will your money flows be if you don't choose it?
Less expanded.
Yeah, so we're just looking at the energy there, okay? So now you guys can insert whatever choice that's in front of you, right? And then the other question I like to ask too is so like Catherine and I both have 2 different ones coming up. We have one coming up in August in Denver on May 13th, or not May, gosh, what year am I in? August 13th is bars, foundation is 14th and 15th, and level 1 is 16th and 17th, and that's in Denver. We're so excited. I haven't facilitated in Denver for a year. And then, like, I have another one coming up in September starting on the 26th. And when's your next one?
I haven't booked it yet.
Well, it'll be sometime in the future that we don't know the dates yet. So if we just look for you, Jolie, just to play with this, and everybody else out there, just ask yourself, so which one would be the most expansive? Denver? Carlsbad with Corey? Well, Denver with Corey and Catherine. Carlsbad with just Corey, or Catherine's next upcoming 5-day.
Or something else.
Or something else. Right, thank you for that. Okay, and then that's where you just go, which one's the lightest? And then you can ask the questions of, which one will I receive the most from? But not like you don't need to do it like trying to get it right. But if you're looking at different things, right, like timing or whatever, then it's like, all right, well, wow, for some reason the Denver one is feeling really juicy, all right, and I get Corey and Catherine. How does it get better than that? Like double whammy, right? And it might not be something that you would have thought that you would consider before you check the energy. Okay, so that's why checking the energy is so much of a contribution when we just check, because everything else will fall into place when you choose that possibility for you, okay, when you trust it. And then you start asking, okay, great, so if Jolie was like, oh my God, the Denver one, I don't know why, but that one makes me want to just, whoa, right? And then she'd be like, okay, I don't know if I have the money. It's like, great. What would it take for the money to show up with ease, right? What could I create here? Universe, support me. It's light. What is possible here? And then what is possible beyond anything I could ever imagine right now? And then, Catherine, what other ones do you use?
I just want to say, like, the trick to that is to not go into conclusion that it's not possible, right? Because I've also had something where I'm like, oh my God, I have to come up with $10,000 in the next 24 hours. What the double HELL, whatever, right? And like literally, I'm like, okay, what else is possible? What do I know that I don't even know? How else can this show up beyond what I could imagine? And like literally twice in the last 12 months, I've had to come up with like close to $10,000 in a very short amount of time. And I never went to the conclusion that it's not possible. And both times it was like on the mark, in the moment. And Corey and I teach people, we coach people through this a lot. So it's not about like, well, what else is possible? La, 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 what else is possible? You actually have to be in the energy of what else is possible here. Yeah. Because we can ask a question. It's like saying a statement with a question mark attached, but you're not actually asking the question. Versus, hey, universe, I actually am interested. What else is possible here? And there have been times where I look at a class and it's like light, 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 heavy, right? And I'm like, oh God, it got heavy. What the heck? And 9 times out of 10, if I go, is this heavy or is this resistance? I get that it's resistance, and I go, okay, well, if I move through the resistance, what will my life look like? And it's like, right? I had one time got that a class was heavy, and I went, that's interesting. I'm going to cancel. So I ended up canceling, and something happened with my family where I actually required to be home. And so it was like following, so Corey and I aren't interested, like if it's light for you to come play with us, we would love, love, love to play with you because we have tons of tricks in our tool bag. We have lots of like places that we can play, and we love watching the change that happens when you guys say yes. And we're not interested in selling you on something that isn't light for you. We're interested literally in you can apply the tools that we're giving you to any area of your life. And if it's a 5-day with Corey and I, or just Corey, or just me, we're like right on, because we watch how much it shifts. But this is literally giving you the gift so that nobody pushes or forces you into choosing for you. And so it's like, what are the questions that you could ask that would actually be a contribution to your life, living, business, and reality? So like with Jolie, she can ask like, wow, what else is possible with my pricing that I haven't even considered? Rather than, oh my God, I got to change my pricing because Catherine and Corey said so, and I'm going to, rack my brain. That's not the lightness of her business. The lightness of her business is what else is possible. Okay, heavier resistance, because we like to trick ourselves thinking things are heavy when actually it's resistance. And when resistance shows up, if you're willing to, like the wall, the quickest way around it, the quickest way through it, the quickest way to the other side may actually be the biggest contribution to your life. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to add that.
Right. Well, and I wanted to add one more piece to that, is because it's the greatest contribution to your life. Why? Because you actually choose it, and then you create it, and then you do it. And the more you do that, the more you let the yeah buts go away, the more you let money being a problem, the more you let time being a problem, the more you let the resistance being a problem or an obstacle, then you step into knowing that you can create anything. And you become the master creator of your reality. So then if it's a $10,000 program, you're like, I got to create $10,000, then you just know that you can do it. And then you go do it. So there's never any obstacle to anything that you would like to have. Now, there might be timing, right? Or there might be some puzzle pieces that have to get into place or whatever. So your timing might not be the timing that shows up, but you know it can happen. You know it will actualize because you know it's possible. Okay, good. Now what's it going to take to have this show up? Okay, and that's the place that I personally operate from now, because it's like, anything that I would like to have, I ask, and it's literally connection points start to show up. And I know that if I'd like to choose any one of them, I can have it. I just have to fully choose it and not let anything stop me. Nothing. Not my head, not my body, not anybody else's point of view, not anybody else's judgment, nothing. Not money, right? But I know I can have it, and then I have it. Like I said, it might not be in the timing sometimes that I think I would like, but I will have it, okay? So if you guys start functioning from that space, if you get the energy that I'm being about it, and say, how can I be that energy for myself? How can I actually have it all and be unstoppable in creating your life? That's what we'd like to contribute to you in 2 different ways. So obviously we've shared with you the 5-day that's coming up, and we have other 5 days. Catherine and I don't facilitate too many of them, so if it's light and you want to jump in, jump in. And if you have your yeah buts that are coming up, send us an email, reach out. A lot of times we can offer a clearing question or 2 or maybe an insight that can change everything for you, right? And sometimes just saying your thing to somebody else sometimes is like, oh yeah, that's no big deal, I can do that. Right? And then, Catherine, will you tell them about the other thing we have to possibly contribute?
Yes. So I'm so excited. And so you guys can see on the bottom, it says CatherineMcIntosh.com/Denver 5-day-Corey. So if you go here, I had a mad dash of trying to get all the buttons on, so it's not as pretty as I'd like it to be, but whatever. All the juice is here, so you can see that there's information on how to sign up for the bars, foundation, and level 1 with Corey and I in August in Denver. And then the thing that if that's not the right timing and you've got too much going on or whatever, and you want to come play, we're so excited because we just looked at this energy of what are all the excuses that I tell myself, what are the excuses Corey tells herself, what are the excuses that we all tell ourselves, right? And so we came up with, surprise, a 4-call teleseries. So we're so excited about it. It actually starts next week. It's August 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So it's every day for 1 hour with Corey and I over the phone, 60 minutes. And the title is The Alchemy of Change. Leave your yeah buts behind you, right? So leave your butt where it belongs, which is behind you. And so if you're willing to leave it behind, what can you actually create? So we're so excited. So this 4-call series, it's the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. You're going to get the live calls with Corey and I where you can ask questions, and you're going to also get the recordings of the calls, and it's so 4 days next week, and we're doing it at 7 in the morning California time, 8 in the morning Colorado time, 3 in the afternoon in Dublin and other parts of the world. So just look at the energy, and what would it be like? Because did you get a lot out of this hangout? We had over 400 people that signed up to be on this hangout with us, right? And some people couldn't be live, but like we want to see, would it be fun for you to play with us? So this 4-call series is 60 minutes for 4 days, and it's only $150. So, you know, Corey and I, our privates, hour-long privates are over $300 each, and it's like you get both of us for 4 days for 4 hours, and I just had a visitor jump in for 4 hours for $150. So if that's light, you want to say hi to the world?
Hi, dude.
My son who just popped in, so mixing work and play. Want to wave and say hi? So if you want to come play with us, we would love to. You can basically click on the Buy Now button. I'll switch it so you actually can see how much it is, but it's $150. You get 4 live calls with Corey and I, and you know, if you started to leave your yeah buts behind, if you stopped making excuses and started actually creating your life, what would you create? Right, Duke?
Yeah, what could you create? And what I love about this is it's all the excuses we use. It's my body isn't the right body, or I'm not tall enough, or I don't have enough money, or I don't know how to use computers, or I don't know anybody, or God, yeah, but oh, I have this story about when I was 5, or like all the yeah buts. We're literally going to take your guys' yeah buts, extrapolate the story, and then like hit delete, 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 delete. And so how can you take that yeah but about whatever's going on in your life and change it now? So 4 days straight of like, yeah, but, and then we're going to go, okay, good, here's how we can change that. Yeah, but, here's how we can change that. Like total alchemy, which is the change, in 4 days. And so we wanted to like, well, actually, we didn't want to do anything. We just asked what wanted to be created, and this is what it said. So we just say yes to that, and I wonder who wants to come play with us. So we just invite you, if you've got some yeah buts and you've been using excuses and your yeah buts to keep you from having what you know is possible, then come play with us for $150. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Dude. So, Catherine, is there anything else you want to say about that? Jolie, first of all, actually, well, Catherine, is there anything else?
No, I think you covered it.
Awesome. Well, I'm super excited because I've never done a telecall like this before, where it's 4 days in a row and we're just covering the yeah buts and creating beyond the yeah buts. But Jolie, I wanted to say thank you so much for being vulnerable, letting us kind of dive in there and give you some new pieces, and kind of allowing you to be the catalyst for showing other people like how we can shift that energy. And I wonder what else is possible for you, Jolie, and I wonder what else is possible for everybody else going through that process. So thank you so much. And yeah, so that's CatherineMcIntosh.com/Denver 5-day-Corey, because we're doing it together. And I wonder who's going to come play with us. We have already a bunch of people signed up, really potent people as well. So I hope you guys come and play.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Jolie. Have a great night, and what else is possible?
I wonder. Bye, you guys.